Remember Shanquella Robinson, the young woman who was killed while she was down in Cabo with a few travel mates? Well, her family is really upset at this moment. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a big content creator, a small content creator, whether you are creating content for YouTube, your website, or your podcast, or whether in this case you've created a movie or a show or an episode. I think we're going to call this an episode for Street Legal, which shows up on Tubi. Now, here's where things are. Apparently, Street Legal, which is a crime drama, received a cease and desist letter because the family was upset about one of their recent episodes that presented a situation very similar to that of Shanquella Robinson. I actually watched the episode last night. I had not watched Street Legal before, so it was definitely not quite what I expected. I then watched a video that I guess I want to call the show's producer, the executive producer. I watched a video where he talked about just his past in developing content and being on Tubi and how much money he's making, all of that sort of stuff. His take on Street Legal is that it's supposed to be kind of like Law and Order. So it flips back and forth. I was not prepared for that. It's a little different from Law and Order, but it definitely sort of moves around. At one point, I was so confused. I was not sure I was watching the same episode. I was wondering if they just moved on to something else. I couldn't follow it for a second there. It got a little interesting. Maybe it was just me. But it does follow the Shanquella Robinson story a little bit. But the family is really upset about this. And they say that this is taking this tragedy that they have gone through and that now someone is using this, even misrepresenting some of it. I want to read you something that was on revolt.tv. This is a quote. "We must express our profound dismay at the distressing misrepresentation and unauthorized use of Shanquella's identity and the events surrounding her tragic passing," unquote. When you watch the episode, what you find out is that they didn't use Shanquella's name. They sort of fictionalized it to some extent. They even wrapped it up and it looked like they had a trial at the end, and some parties were found guilty. The person in the episode, I believe her name was Nicole. I should go back and look at my notes. Her name, I think, was Nicole. And this particular story is in episode 2 of, is it season 2? I'm not even sure. But anyway, it's episode 2 if you go to Tubi and you go to Street Legal to watch that particular show. So it says, it talks a little bit about the video. They even talk about the video in the movie. They talk a little bit about who was punching whom. They even talk about the reasoning why the fight may have taken place. Now, I have not followed this for a really long time, so I'm not up on whether or not that part is fictional. But yeah, so let me go back and see if I can find a little bit more about what this cease and desist letter says. Because if you're a content creator, if you're putting things out there, well, anybody could receive a cease and desist letter. But I really want to talk about it from the aspect of people who are putting things out there. It goes, quote, "This unauthorized use has caused significant emotional distress and harm to the Robinson family, as it has dredged up painful memories and portrayed our loved one in a manner that is inaccurate, disrespectful, and damaging to her reputation," unquote. See, that's a problem because even though this episode of Street Legal, which is actually called Frenemies, This episode of Street Legal is supposed to be some sort of fictionalized version based on true life. If they are portraying some reasoning as to why the fight happened, and it's based on Shanquella's behavior, some things she may have done. If it is not true, then it may be leaving people with the impression that it is. Because my first thought was, oh, so is that what happened? So I could totally understand the family saying, hey, we don't really like this. We think you've put some things in there that are not true. They misrepresent what happened and who she was, and we want you to take this down. Now, it says here in this particular article that I'm reading, it says that the producer, Dennis Reed, had not issued a public statement. It says, quote, however, as of Saturday, September 16th, multiple posts resharing the letter can be viewed on his Instagram story. Now, I haven't gone there to check that out, and maybe I should do that. But this is something for people, I think, to really be concerned about. Don't forget, we're here to learn more about creating content and taking down that mountain of debt so we can create a mountain of income.